So vehicles causing excessive noise. Right, let me choose vehicles causing excessive noise. Okay, so here from number 1 they're saying you may not operate a vehicle which is causing excessive noise. So imoto ebangumsindo ayifuneki. A vehicle that causes excessive noise, we do not want it on the road. You may not use your hooter unnecessarily, and it must be audible at a distance of 90 meters. You may not use your hooter unnecessarily. You may not use your hooter unnecessarily, and it must be audible at a distance of 90 meters. So this is important, 90 meters. Your hooter must cover up to the distance of 90 meters. All right. Then pedestrians right of way at a pedestrian crossing. When a pedestrian crossing is situated at a traffic light, the pedestrian must obey the signal of the traffic light. So when the pedestrian crossing is at the traffic light, the pedestrians must obey the signal. The pedestrian must not just say, oh, there's a pedestrian crossing, let me just cross. No, the pedestrian must look at the signal on the traffic light. All right. Drivers must give right of way to pedestrian entering or already at a pedestrian crossing. So you must always give way to the pedestrian that is about to enter the pedestrian crossing or already within the pedestrian crossing. And then number 3, very important, a pedestrian shall not run onto or enter a pedestrian crossing in such a manner as shall make it difficult for the driver to yield. So just because you are a pedestrian, you don't just run because you are seeing a pedestrian crossing, making it difficult for the driver to stop. Okay, so you must always be watch and always be considerate. Yes, as a driver, you must know that when there's a pedestrian crossing, you must always be ready to stop and wait for the pedestrians to cross the road. All right. No driver may overtake another vehicle which has stopped at a pedestrian crossing. So when the vehicle has stopped at a pedestrian crossing, you do not overtake that vehicle. You do not overtake a vehicle that is stopped at a pedestrian crossing. So there you go. Say for instance, this is your road, okay? This is a pedestrian crossing, okay? This is a pedestrian crossing. If there's a vehicle that is stopped here, you don't just overtake it. No, unless it is broken down. But nakhona, if it's broken down, it must have a triangle, right? You'll see with the triangle. But if it has stopped because maybe there's someone who wants to cross, or maybe there's someone who's already crossing. And if you just overtake, you are most likely to bump into that person, All right. Right. So then we come to the rules with regards to racing and sport on public road or public roads. Any race or sporting event on a public road must be approved by the relevant authorities. Any race or sporting event on the public road must be approved. It must be approved. Right. And then we come to hindering or obstructing traffic on a public road. Hindering or obstructing traffic on the public road. You may not in any way hinder the free flow of traffic, either with your vehicle or any other object. So anything that seeks to distract or disrupt the flow of the traffic is not allowed on the road, either with your vehicle or with anything else. As long as it's a public road, you do not hinder the flow of traffic. Right, now we come on to abandoned vehicles. When the vehicle has been abandoned, this vehicle has been left here for however long, it has been abandoned. So now, any vehicle that has been abandoned will be removed and impounded. Now, a vehicle is considered abandoned when it is causing an obstruction. So once you leave your vehicle here and it's causing obstruction, now cars cannot move freely. this car is causing an obstruction, then that car is considered abandoned. When it is parked in a prohibited area, once you park your car in an area where it's prohibited for you to park your vehicle, it's considered abandoned. If it is left standing for more than 24 hours on a public road outside an urban area, it has been left standing for more than 24 hours on a public road outside an urban area. It is left standing for more than 7 days on a public road within an urban area. Excuse me. So it's 7 days, 7 days within an urban area, and it's 24 hours outside an urban area. You must not confuse the two. They are going to ask it at testing yakho. You are going to be asked this. So remember, it's 24 hours on a public road outside an urban area, and it's 7 days on a public road within an urban area. So in the urban area, it's 7 days. Outside the urban area, you see? Outside the urban area, it's 24 hours. Fork. And then when the vehicle, it has no license or registration number, when it is parked in a no stopping or no parking area, that car will be considered abandoned. Right. Now, we then move on to damage to public roads. Damage to public roads. Right. So they're saying here, sorry, they're saying you may not will spin or drag your wheels. You may not will spin or drag your wheels. You may not use shocks or shoes between any of your wheels. You may not cause any damage to the surface of a public road. You may not cause any damage to the surface of the public road. So anything that seeks to destroy the road is not allowed. You may not allow anything that will destroy the road, that will even leave a mark on the road. All right. Now we come to the rules with regards to freeway. Freeway. You may drive on a freeway with a learner's license, provided you are accompanied by someone with a valid driving license of the same category. You may drive on a freeway with a learner's license, provided you are accompanied by someone with a valid driving license. So these are good news for you as you are preparing for your learner's license, that you can drive on the freeway with your learners, provided that you are accompanied by someone with a driver's license. Okay, so of the same category. So if your learners is for code 8, then it must be someone who's a code 8 holder. Should a vehicle behind you wish to overtake you, use your indicator and move over to the left lane when safe to do so. You use your indicator and move over to the next lane when it's safe to do so. The following are not allowed on a freeway. The following are not allowed on the freeway. Any animal-drawn vehicles, it's not allowed. Bicycles, motorcycles with an engine capacity of 50 cc or less, motor tricycles or quad bikes, vehicles with a mass of 230 kgs or less, specifically constructed for disabled people. Tractors are not allowed. Pedestrians, unless within an area reserved for stopping or in a situation beyond their control. Animals, unless in a vehicle or in an area reserved for stopping. Vehicles are not allowed. Animal-drawn vehicles are not allowed on the freeway. All right, and then now we come on to you may not stop on the freeway unless you are instructed to do so by a traffic officer. Unless you are instructed to do so by a traffic officer, unless you are in an area reserved for stopping or parking, you are in a situation beyond your control. These are the conditions where you are not allowed to stop your vehicle on the freeway. not allowed to stop your vehicle on the freeway unless you are instructed to do so by a traffic officer. You are in an area reserved for stopping or parking, okay? Or unless the situation is beyond your control. Right. And then we come on to this one. You may not use hand signals on a freeway unless in a situation beyond your control. Hand signals are not allowed on a freeway. Hand signals are not allowed on a freeway. Okay. And then we come on to towing. The rules with regards to towing your vehicle. The length of the tow rope, tow bar, or chain between the two vehicles cannot exceed 3.5 meters. So when you are towing another vehicle, so the length between the towing and the towed vehicle may not exceed 3.5 meters. And then they say a licensed driver must be in control of the towed vehicle unless the front wheels are clear of the ground or a device is used to control the steering. If the brakes of the towed vehicle are defective, if amabreki emoto edonswayo awasebenzi, then it must be hooked by means of an appropriate tow bar. A tow bar or tow bar must be used to tow a vehicle in excess of 30 kilometers per hour. No passengers are allowed in a towed vehicle unless said vehicle is a semi-trailer. Motorcycles, tricycles, and quad bikes may not be used for towing. Motorcycles, tricycles, and quad bikes may not be used for towing. Simple and straightforward. Simple and straightforward. Okay. Now we come on to speed limits. Okay. Speed limits. General speed limits. So these are the general speed limits. It's 60 kilometers per hour on roads in urban areas. Roads within urban areas. And then it's 100 kilometers per hour on roads outside an urban area. 120 kilometers per hour on freeways. Then you have the speed limits for particular classes of vehicles. Okay, so it's 80 kilometers per hour for goods vehicles or combination vehicles exceeding 9,000 kgs. And it's 100 kilometers for a bus or minibus. 100 kilometers for bus or minibus. All right. So here now we jump onto the rules with regards to seatbelts. So please, guys, don't forget to just click on that red button to subscribe on this channel. Okay? Okay? Just click on that subscribe. Right. Seatbelts. Seatbelts are to be worn at all times, except while reversing or parking. It has to be worn by what? By the driver and passengers. Any child under the age of 14 years, unless taller than 1.5 meters, must sit in the back of the vehicle. Must sit in the back of the vehicle. An adult passenger may not sit in a seat with no seat belt if there is another seat with a belt available. No passenger shall operate a motor vehicle on a public road unless the seat belts fitted to such motor vehicle are in a good working order. So, akekho umuntu okufanele ehlale esihlalweni esingenalo ibhande uma ngabe kunesihlalo esinebhande. But also, infants under 3 years must be seated on an appropriate child restraint. This does not apply in case of a public transport vehicle. So if you are traveling with a child in your own vehicle, in a private vehicle, you must have a child restraint seat, that smaller seat for your baby. All right. Now we move on to the rules with regards to the tires. The tires of a vehicle. The thread of a tire must be visible and have a depth of at least 1 millimeter over the entire surface. This is very important. This is the most important thing with regards to the tires that you will find in your test. Okay, that the thread of a tire must be visible and have a depth of at least 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter, 1 millimeter, 1 millimeter. The depth of the thread pattern must be at least 1 millimeter. Okay, right, now we go on to motorcycles of 50cc or less must have visible thread on less than 80%, on no less than 80% of, but the motorcycle one, you are not going to cover it. Motorcycles of more than 50cc must have visible thread of at least 1 millimeter over the entire surface of the tire. The tire must be in good condition with no bulges or visible canvas. Rethread tires may not be used on motorcycles. All right, may not be used on motorcycles. All right, and then the lights of your vehicle. Emergency or hazard lights may only be used in an emergency or when the vehicle is stopped in a hazardous position. Motorcyclists must have their headlights on at all times. Other vehicles must have their headlights on between sunset and sunrise and when visibility is less than 150 meters. The main beams, of which is bright, should be able to illuminate objects up to 100 meters ahead. The main beams, bright, should be dipped in the face of oncoming traffic, and such dipped beams shouldn't illuminate the road more than 45 meters ahead. The main beams, bright wako, to be used only when there is no oncoming traffic. Parking lights are to be used only when a vehicle is parked outside a parking bay or in a dark area more than 12 meters from the street light. And then adjustable spotlights are only to be used by tractors, vets, at breakdowns, and by officials on duty. Read this over and over and over and over. If you need to reverse the video, reverse it and listen to it again. All right, listen to it again. Right. Now we move on to vehicle accidents. The accidents. All right. What are they saying about accidents? When involved in any form of an accident, you must do the following. You stop your vehicle immediately. You establish if there have been any injuries. If so, you must call the police immediately. You provide any assistance possible to the injured. Provide your name and address, the registration number of the vehicle, and the name and address of the owner of the vehicle. Report the accident to the nearest police station within 24 hours with your driving license in your possession. All right? And then you may not take any alcohol or drugs before reporting the accident. If there are injuries, your vehicle may only be moved with the authorization of an official and only after the position of the vehicle has been marked. If no one has been injured, you may move your vehicle if it is obstructing traffic. No one has been injured. Move the vehicles because it is obstructing traffic. That's what the rules are saying. All right. Now let's go on to alcohol and narcotic drugs. Alcohol and narcotic drugs. Excuse me. They're saying here, while in control of a vehicle or behind the control of a running motor vehicle, you may not be under the influence of alcohol or narcotic drugs, nor can your blood alcohol levels exceed the legal limit of what? The legal limits are alcohol levels of 0.05 per 100 ml of blood and 0.24 mg per 100 ml of breath for ordinary drivers, and 0.02 grams per 100 ml of blood and 0.10 milligrams per 100 ml of for professional drivers. So listen, guys, the reason why this thing, I'm stumbling a bit. It's because I'm used to this. Should not be less than 0.05 per 100 mils of blood. And then here, I'm used to the book that says and more, and more. And then also here it says 0.02 per 100 mils of blood. And then it says, then it says and more for professional drivers. So a professional driver is someone with a PDP. Someone with a PDP. So when you get your PDP, you are considered a professional driver, because this is a professional driver's permit. Professional driver's permit. All right. Emergency warning signs. Emergency warning signs. Emergency warning signs. Okay. All motor vehicles first registered after 1st July 2007 must carry at least one emergency warning triangles of a vehicle. If a vehicle is stationary on the road for any reason, the triangle must be clearly displayed at least 45 meters behind the vehicle. 45 meters behind the vehicle. All right. And then when carrying passengers, okay, here is the car is stationary on the road, 45 meters, triangle. Seated passengers may be carried on the back of an open truck or IDV where the sides are 350 millimeters above seating levels. So now, there, 350 millimeters, so you must be seated if these are the dimensions of your truck, of ibhaki yakho. Okay, and standing passengers may be carried on the back of an open truck or IDV where the sides are 900 meters high. So if your sides are 900 meters high, you can have standing passengers, right? And then they're also saying here then, passengers on motorcycles must wear protective headgear as prescribed. Passengers must, if fitted, wear seat belts on the seat they occupy. Everyone who's sitting on the seat must wear a seatbelt. No passenger in a vehicle or public road shall permit any part of their body to protrude beyond such vehicle. So you cannot even take your hand outside the window unless you are executing a hand signal. You are not allowed to do that. All right. And then we come on to animals on public roads. Animals are only allowed on or near public road when under control. Such person heading animals over or on a public road must carry a warning at least 150 meters ahead and behind the herd as follows. During the day, it must be a 300 millimeter square red flag. Okay? At night, it must be a red light. If there are less than 10 animals, only one light or flag is required. Okay? Excuse me. All right, and then we go on to the rules with regards to carrying load or carrying a load. Okay. The load must be securely fastened and not obstruct the driver's view or control. The load may not touch the road surface, may not exceed 4.3 meters in height from the ground for all vehicles, may not exceed half of the height of the vehicle unless it is a bicycle, may not exceed 2.5 meters in width, 2.6 for goods vehicle with a mass above 12,000 kgs, and then may not project more than 300 millimeters in front of the vehicle, may not project more than 1.8 meters to the back of the vehicle. This is, let me erase this so that I can rewrite it. So now, everything that they explained there, it's represented in these illustrations. So, ngaphambili, in front, it may not be more than 300 millimeters. At the back, it may not be more than 1.8 meters, including the flag. All right. And then the width must not be more than 2.5 meters, but for goods vehicles it must not be more than 2.6 meters. All right. And then 4.3 meters from the ground all the way up on goods vehicles. All right. Now we come on to safety markings before we close. So they're saying here, loads that project more than 150 millimeters to the side and more than 300 millimeters to the rear must carry a red flag of not less than 300 by 300 at each corner during the day. At night, white reflectors must be carried to each corner, and red reflectors to each back corner, and yellow reflectors to the sides. For loads less than 600 millimeters wide that project 300 millimeters behind the vehicle, a red flag during the day and red flag at night is adequate, is enough. Right. So thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you guys next time. Okay. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Right. This then is the end of the rules of the road. Cheers.